difference between e-commerce and quick commerce is that quick commerce is not a discovery platform. It's not a platform where you go with the mindset of browsing new things like Zepto, Blinkit, Big Basket. E-commerce in itself is ever going to be profitable. Amazon's already started doing in the US, bought Whole Foods. In India also, Amazon has acquired certain brands like More and everything. Has to be omnichannel. Brands where the founder themselves are becoming the face of the brand actually carry a lot more authenticity. Use MidJourney or Freepik or any of these apps, create a cool video of your product, circulate it, showcase it, and see if you get initial interest for that or not.
Since you've worked with many clients, right? Anything that you have seen working every time, like any secrets which have worked with brands or e-commerce players every time?
I think the one thing that works for successful brands is that they are very strong.
Hey guys, welcome to Better Engineering and Management podcast. Today we have Nidhi Bhasin joining us to discuss all the various latest trends in e-commerce and how business leaders can utilize e-commerce for gaining competitive advantage. Okay, so Nidhi has worked in previous companies like Google, Flipkart, Cafe Coffee Day, and she is the founder of Bizwize Consulting, which specializes in quick commerce and e-commerce, helping various small and medium-sized companies kind of gain their business advantage, of course, and big companies also. Nidhi, please welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Pradeep.
So Nidhi, we have come a long way, right? From offline stores to mega shopping malls and then e-commerce apps, right? Where do you see the next disruption of e-commerce happening?
There are very exciting avenues opening up, Pradeep. One of the most exciting things for me is voice and vernacular based commerce. We already know that AR VR based shopping has already started. Although we have to see how it'll unfold. Live shopping, which is video based live shopping, that has also become actually quite prevalent in the US, in China. Of course, China, it's really exploding. Even in India, you get to see some brands using live shopping as a great tool. These are the three areas where I see that that's really the next avenue. Although I do feel that that's we've still got some time. Even quick commerce, we manage a lot of brands on quick commerce, and I see that the kind of explosive growth that quick commerce is going through right now, I do feel that we have at least the next 2 to 3 years until we get to some decent penetration of quick commerce, and it's going at a really fast pace.
Interesting. So you're saying that AR, VR based shopping and then live shopping. When you say live shopping, you are referring to the fact that in the videos they will show some videos of some people and they are wearing something, and you can just kind of go to that particular product. Is that what you are referring to when you say live shopping?
Yeah. There are essentially boutique stores and people who have retail presence. What they're doing is they're actually getting creators, or even the owners themselves are using these, wearing their own merchandise, showcasing it to the public. There are live shows that are happening where people are tuning in from various parts of the country or even from the world. There are actually Indian live shopping apps that are selling very well in Europe.
Okay.
In China, in Russia, where retailers are creating their content. They're basically running a live show where people tune in. They showcase the product with someone wearing it or whatever. Of course, in terms of fashion, it is somebody wearing it, but there are other things also. There's electronics, there is food, there is pet products, there are a bunch of other categories. And the link to those to purchase those products are shared at the same time, and people can purchase it instantly. To my mind, in India, it has still not picked up that well. But I do feel we have a really long runway. People are slow to adopt something, but once we do, we have
No looking back.
the numbers and to support. So especially when it comes to small businesses, when it comes to single store owners, they, I feel, can leverage live shopping very, very well.
Okay. Long back, I remember a conversation where one of the mentors, right, with whom I was working, mentioned that a lot of times what is happening in US is with all the celebrities, right, where they will be posting their pictures on blogs and all those things. So in those pictures itself, let's say they're wearing some, shoes or some jewelry, you can click on that particular part of that picture and it will take you to the shopping link. With
Correct.
live shopping, you're saying that that's not just pictures, but in videos also you can do the same thing. And maybe in the description of the video or in the running chats of the videos, those links will be there. Or probably going forward in the video itself, those links will be embedded. And you can just click and go to the shopping portal and buy those things, right? That's very interesting.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. In fact,
Okay.
Myntra had experimented. Myntra, Amazon, both have experimented with this even 3 to 4 years ago. I'm not sure if Myntra found it as a successful channel or not, but I do feel
Mm,
that smaller
mm,
brands who can actually invest their time into creating these micro communities and then running
okay.
live shows can be very, very
Mm,
beneficial for them.
okay. So basically, whenever they are going live on social media or any other platform,
Yes,
okay, it can be a big success in the terms of e-commerce selling also. Okay. Very
definitely.
interesting. So the next question is, how can business founders utilize quick commerce to sell products? Can brands really make impact and utilize quick commerce for, you know, immediate success?
See, I get this question a lot, right? So one fundamental thing that we need to understand, which is the difference between e-commerce and quick commerce, is that quick commerce is not a discovery platform. It's not a
Okay.
platform where you go with the mindset of browsing new things.
Right.
When you think of an app like Zepto, Big Blinkit, Big Basket, people have an intent. They want to buy groceries, they want to buy milk, they want to buy daily essentials, and that is why they go to the app, and they have a very clear intent. They purchase what they want, and maybe in terms of sampling, or maybe if you find a different product which is of a slightly lower pricing, then people kind of opt for those products. But that said, if you have a new product in the market, new brand, quick commerce is not probably the right platform.
Okay. Okay.
E-commerce, on the other side, is a beautiful platform to launch, to iterate, to get real-time feedback, and to scale what is working for you. And
Okay.
we already know there are multiple brands. There's Mama Earth, there's Wow Skin Science, there are Sugar Cosmetics. There are lots of them that actually grew multifold on e-commerce.
Right.
Now, when it comes to quick commerce, if you already have a brand that is recognized, that you already have loyal customers who are coming again or looking at these apps, Zepto, Blinkit, Big Basket, to purchase your product, then it is a great platform to scale. You should lead with your bestseller products that people are already looking for, and
Mhm.
then possibly once you're on those platforms, you can do some bit of new product launches. You can do sampling, you can do smart bundling, and kind of launch
Okay.
new SKUs and grow.
Are you trying to say that if you are new, right, like a new brand, probably it's best to go with traditional e-commerce methods first because you want to establish yourself first. Once people are aware about your brand and they have started liking your products, then e-commerce can help you clear the inventory faster because people will start buying it more and more. But if people are not aware about your product, probably traditional, e-commerce methods might suit you better in the beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely. See, there is also a big inventory issue, right? Inventory
Okay.
storage
Mm,
issue when it comes to quick commerce. Um, you don't want to, even if, first of all, there's be a hurdle in terms of onboarding, right? Each of these quick commerce marketplaces require some bit of business history before you can get onboarded onto these platforms. They need to be
mhm,
assured that there is already a demand for your product, right? And even let's say for some reason, or with your connects, etc., you're able to onboard onto these platforms. We have seen examples where there has been dead inventory because you have a new product, you probably sell some units, and the rest kind of is lying because people really don't know what your product is all about. They've never experienced,
mhm,
they don't want to experiment. People
mhm.
are with a mindset to get their daily groceries. Whereas on
Right.
e-commerce, for example, if I go to Amazon, Flipkart, and everything, when I go to Amazon, for example, I go with the intention of browsing. I want to
Right.
see what sales are happening, what are the
Mhm.
discounts that are available, etc.
Right. Right.
And then I, buy products based on their availability, their competitive pricing, and how fast they're available, or for how fast they will be delivered to me. All of
Right.
those things, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, all the new brands who are watching this video should take note that probably it's good to get started with portals like Amazon, Flipkart first to make your presence there, and you market your product first. First, you develop the brand, and then you probably go to Zepto and Blinkit because they have fast running inventory. They will not like it if there is an inventory piled up which is not selling fast because the way their business model is. Okay, interesting. And so, how can sellers decide categories to target for their brands? Is there any tips on that?
So again, I think there is enough data available online to be able to understand what is the demand right now, right? What is the gap in the market currently? There
Mhm.
are tools like your, Google Trends. There are I look at a few tools like SEMrush or even keywordtool.io, which actually gives you demand across Amazon, YouTube, Google, bunch of places. So you
Mhm.
basically look at, I mean, these days, the D2C brands that have been able to really scale have actually looked beyond Google search to identify what demand is happening. What are the micro trends that are growing? For example, I was talking to the founder of Wow Skin Science, right? And they said an interesting insight where they said that, look, we identified that. I mean, back in the day when they started, they identified that onion hair oil was a trend that was growing on YouTube. And basis that they developed a product
Okay.
that was the onion hair oil. They branded it and they launched it in the market, and it was a huge success. So today, luckily, if you're a bit creative, you can identify many places. There's Quora where people are already asking questions about certain things. You can look at YouTube. What are the kind of content
Mhm.
people are creating? What's being consumed? You can look at Google search. You can go look at Google Trends and
Mhm.
identify what are those categories that would really be good to enter into.
Interestingly, since you brought YouTube here, because what I have observed is like, particularly with Misho, right? Because my wife follows certain channels, and I think their whole market that they have got, right? Probably YouTube is the biggest contributor. I don't know about any numbers, but because what I was saying is that probably, particularly I would like to mention about Misho because I have observed many YouTube content creators talking about Misho all the time. So I think it's not just this e-commerce strategy, but marketing strategy is playing a huge role here. Like whether if you're doing influencer marketing and all those things, and probably brands should. I think they are already aware. I don't need to tell them again. But if someone is really, let's say, relatively new, when he wants to quickly get a success, this influencer marketing is playing a huge role here,
That is true.
and social media channels particularly, right?
Yeah, I think in India, one of the most interesting trends that's coming up is that apart from just influencers or content creators, right? When the founders, especially when they're starting out the brand and everything, they
Mm.
can also become the face of the brand.
Okay,
And
okay,
what I have noticed is that brands where the founder themselves are becoming the face of the brand actually carry a lot more authenticity. So, for example, if I've developed, let's say, I don't know, a detergent, for example, which is like a
hmm,
clean detergent, if I'm, if I become the face and I'm out there creating content, telling customers, educating about my product, etc., since it comes from the founder's mouth, there is so much more authenticity, and people trust, and uh, you know, uh, there's huge demand for your product if you
okay.
continue to do so. The
I
influencer
think it's
marketing, of
a
course, is has
okay.
existed for a few years now, and there are
Hmm.
interesting trends coming there as well.
Very interesting observation. So basically, founders, if they have some time and they want to be part of this selling cycle anyway, probably it's good idea to kind of start showing their face with their products, talking about it more often, maybe in different shows or wherever they get an opportunity, they should utilize it. Go talk about their brands directly instead of just using marketing funnels because people connect with you more when they see you directly talking about your product.
There's
Very
another
interesting.
trend that's coming up where influencers are launching their own products. So they've already got some reach, got a community. They already know how to create content, and people are already interested in their content. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next step in becoming an influencer is,
Mm.
launching
Okay.
your own product. So we've seen enough examples of these already internationally. In India, Kusha Kapila is probably the latest example where she's launched her
Mm.
own innerwear brand. So
Okay.
yeah,
In
I
fact, I
think
remember, yeah,
that's where
one of
it's
the
going.
YouTube channels that we used to buy this regarding in some something, and they have launched their own cold drink, soft drink, I think, Focus or something. So yeah,
Yes.
it's happening both ways, right? So brands are kind of trying to become influencers, and influencers are trying to launch their own brands, right? Interesting. So this is the way things are changing right now. Okay. So Nidhi, tell me, how can e-commerce players, all these players remain competitive? Because these markets are highly competitive, right? There are too many competitors today. Whether it's e-commerce or quick commerce, right? So how can e-commerce players remain competitive yet profitable in these highly competitive segments? It seems like a race to the bottom when they have to keep reducing the prices to survive, right? Because if you see the discounts on Amazon, Flipkart, everywhere, 20%, 30% discounts are coming.
Right.
Maybe it is not coming directly from the, brands, but still, I think they are always racing to the bottom because they want to acquire the audience. And in that process, they can also lose a lot of margins, right? What would you suggest here? Like, how can they remain competitive yet profitable?
So you're talking about the D2C brands or the marketplaces?
Marketplaces, particularly.
See, marketplaces, first of all, none of the marketplaces are profitable, right?
Right.
Each of the marketplaces are, you know,
Mm,
heavily dependent on investor money.
mm,
And we know that some of the players are actually planning to go for an IPO. For example, Zepto is targeting an IPO.
right.
But that said, I think as a business model,
Mm-hmm.
we are, unless we move to, a 360-degree commerce kind of a
Mm,
solution, I don't think that e-commerce in itself is ever going to be profitable.
okay. Okay.
There has to be, like, Amazon's already started doing it, right? In the US, it's bought Whole Foods. In India also, Amazon has acquired certain brands like More and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So it has to be omnichannel retail, omnichannel
Okay.
commerce, if you may call it.
Okay. Okay.
Only then you will be able to create an ecosystem where you are not, uh, sort of, you have a loyal user base that does not actually go to another platform.
Okay.
I do feel that this whole trend of discounts and everything is very, very short lived, because if
Okay.
you have to look at profitability, which I don't think any of the platforms are looking at this point, but at all, if you at all have to look at it, then I think the discount game has to end. The second big area is logistics. Logistics is a huge,
Mm-hmm.
a cost center, because today an average order value of 250 rupees uh, is also, entertained. Like, a user can buy something for 250 rupees and get it delivered to a remote part of the country where the logistics cost will probably outweigh
Right.
uh, the product cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think quick commerce is probably going to prevail, where every player will either have to have retail chains,
Mm,
or they will have to have dark stores across the country, so that they can reduce logistics. But even then, I don't see that this whole game of logistics or the costs associated with it is ever going to come down. So the way I see it is that, if ultimately it's going to be like, if you have the kirana store, it'll probably be owned by Amazon, and the inventory that is in the Amazon warehouse will finally be stored in these smaller retail stores, from
okay.
which you can actually walk in and purchase from the store, as well as deliveries, quick commerce deliveries can actually happen from those stores as well. So I think
Okay. So
probably
yours, okay,
that's the
interesting.
direction I see
Okay.
could
In a
probably.
way, you can say Zepto is also doing the same thing, right? Because they have small dark stores everywhere spread, and then there is a more logistics involved here because someone has to go and deliver, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that cost cannot
absolutely.
be Done through. Okay.
And you can also already see that Zepto has something called Max Saver, which is an attempt to increase basket size. So unless basket size, the average order value increases,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be CM positive.
Sustainable.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not going to be sustainable.
Okay.
Because if today I can buy 70 rupees ice cream
Mm.
and get it delivered to me,
Mm.
which is definitely not profitable for them.
Right. Right. In fact, yeah, I have started because I use Zepto pretty commonly. They do try to motivate us to have a larger basket size, and in their app also they have done a lot of tinkering. Where if you buy this, will get free delivery. If you increase the basket size, you'll get this much coupons or something like that. I mean, there are a lot of things they're doing. So yes, you're right. That trend we're already observing because I think they are running tight now because all the logistics costs getting up and up,
Yeah.
and it's not sustainable in very long run. But tell me one thing, like for this e-commerce or for these brands, right? So what you're saying is, if they go to marketplaces are going to be difficult to have profit with. What about those brands which start selling on their own websites, create a e-commerce, website on their own? Do you think that might be a better strategy than putting things into the common marketplaces like Amazon and let's say Flipkart or Zepto?
See, it's a trade-off.
Mm,
Um, if you are placing your brand on marketplaces, you already have a captive audience that you can
right.
serve, because Amazon, Flipkart is already getting you that millions of customers
Bias. Right.
to look at your brand, right?
Mhm.
That said, of course, they charge a hefty margin,
Right.
almost 35%. And if you're advertising, then it goes up to 40 to 45%.
Mhm.
Um, so if you're starting out and if you want an audience for your brand,
Mhm.
in my opinion, marketplaces are a better bet.
Okay.
That said, once you have at least a small audience or a small customer base for your products, then
Mm.
you should consider building your own D2C channel where you can
Okay.
sell directly. That's one
Okay.
approach. The other approach being content led commerce, where if you choose to create content for
Mhm.
your brand, if you're okay creating content for your brand when you're starting out, then you can create a community of for your content and launch your products over there.
Okay.
Get good feedback and iterate and really understand what the market is buying. There are
Mhm.
lots of people already doing this on Instagram, where they have
Mm.
their own channels where they create content. There is an
Mhm.
influencer called Nish Hair.
Okay.
She's an actress who also started a hair extensions brand and
Okay.
completely marketed through Instagram,
Instagram. Okay.
right?
But
So
just a small interruption. When you say based this marketing, right? So are they not using marketplaces? They're selling directly, or they are kind of giving links to the marketplaces itself?
no, they're selling directly.
Okay.
There
Okay.
is a lot of micro commerce happening on Instagram already today.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
almost I feel like 5 years ago,
Okay.
there was someone in Afghanistan selling sheep on Instagram.
Okay. Okay. That's very
Right.
interesting.
So
Okay. Okay.
anything's possible. People are using Instagram, social media in very, very creative ways.
Okay.
Today, if you choose to create content on Pinterest, you can create, shoppable pins. You can do a bunch of things. You can create your own community on WhatsApp and you can sell.
Okay.
There are
Okay.
lots of, businessmen actually today selling completely via WhatsApp. If you go to Surat and you speak to some of these sari manufacturers, they have a large community on WhatsApp and they sell directly to them. So as the
Okay.
sari is manufactured and while it is being packaged, they take a
Okay.
quick video, and
Okay.
they have designers who are sitting there who are creating
Okay.
content with a model wearing them. They quickly
Okay.
create photos and videos and send it out on their
On
WhatsApp
the
group,
channels. Okay. So
Telegram group,
WhatsApp itself
WhatsApp
has
group.
become a channel like quick commerce channel.
Yeah,
I mean, in the
absolutely. I
sense.
mean, thanks to UPI, anything's possible now.
Okay. 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 Okay.
In fact,
Interesting.
I do that a lot. Like
Okay.
there are players that are there on WhatsApp. There are
Mm.
Telegram groups. There are
Mm.
influencers on YouTube who say, okay, you know what, I'm selling this product. Hit me up on WhatsApp, and you can buy. So lots of things are being
In fact,
sold off of WhatsApp.
now that you reminded me, there's a person in our apartment who has bought a pet using WhatsApp only. So
Yes.
he contacted the person through WhatsApp, and then all the payment etc. discussions happened on WhatsApp, and he delivered it all the way till here from Assam to Bangalore. And
Okay.
so okay, it's different. As you mentioned, these are all micro commerce, basically different kind of selling using apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, and first to do a content-based marketing, you get so creation of community is very important in this. This is
Absolutely.
playing a huge role here. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's very interesting because when it comes to YouTube, right, all the many YouTube influencers mention this that you have to create a community, and then you kind of like your videos will be going there. Right? So in the same way, even e-commerce players should think in terms of community that you have to create a community for a brand, and then probably your selling will be notch up. Okay,
Yeah, usually what brands do is that they first focus on creating the product and then launching it, doing
right.
huge amount of marketing and everything. But I think if you were to really look at it, you frugally, you
Mm,
can
mm,
easily create your community on WhatsApp or on Instagram.
okay, okay,
It's just a question of what, when I interface with a lot of business owners, I think the only thing limiting them is their willingness to create content or
okay,
willingness to
okay,
look at some of these channels, which may be slow to create initially.
okay, okay.
But once you have that strong community, then it can actually beat any paid marketing channel.
Basically, what I'm understanding is that there's a lot of scope for creativity in this selling process. And if you can kind of take some effort to find out those channels, and apart from the regular thing that you're doing, you're selling on marketplaces and all those things. But if you be a little bit creative, communicate a bit, create a community, you can kind of get, let's say, 5x or 10x selling. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Very interesting. See, moving on, let's say, particularly talking about small e-commerce players, people who have limited resources and budget, right? What can those players do to survive? Because they are limited in their budget, they are limited in their resources, and maybe they have created a quality product, okay, but they don't have marketing budget, they don't have all those resources, right? Logistical resources. How can they survive in today's world, or they will not be surviving?
See, I think before marketing the product,
Mm,
I speak to a lot of people. I mean, I do mentor some founders who are just starting out as well.
right.
There are two things that are super important when you're launching a product or launching a brand. One is you have to do your research to understand whether there's a market for it or not. And in today's
Okay.
date, you can literally just create an MVP, use, MidJourney or Freepik or any of these apps, create a cool
Okay.
video of your product, circulate it, showcase it, and see if you get initial interest for that or not.
Okay.
Um, Second, you have to work out the unit economics. If you were to go online, logistics plays a huge part in your unit economics. The logistics cost sometimes goes almost up to 20 to 25%,
Okay.
which people don't look at when
Mm,
they want to launch. And
okay.
that's one thing that kind of kills your business, especially if you were to do e-commerce or quick commerce, whichever.
Okay.
Once you work out the unit economics, then you have a lot of different channels to market. Of course, there are, Shopify is one of the easiest platform which you can create a website
Mm,
and you can kind of start selling. Um, there are enough and more 3PL logistics partners, aggregators who you can partner with to today deliver your product across the country.
mm,
You have to look at the volumetric weight of your product.
okay.
You have to calculate what is going to be the logistics cost to deliver it at a national
Mm,
level,
okay.
and then do your pricing,
Okay.
right? Of course, there are certain categories which are very challenging. For example, we work with some FMCG brands, we work with some snack brands.
Okay.
They sell banana chips, for example, right? When you look at banana chips, the price of it versus the volumetric weight, the logistics cost often becomes a hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, if you already have a snack business,
Mm-hmm.
then, economies of scale come into play and lots of different things that can be done. But if you're at a stage where you're still deciding what you're going to sell, then
Mm-hmm.
keeping all these factors in mind become very, very important.
Okay, so what I understand is particularly for smaller business founders, first you should try to find the product market fit, the
Yes.
product that you're trying to sell, whether is there a market for it, whether people will accept it, and that you should do in a manner where you don't end up burning a lot of cash. As Nidhi mentioned, right? Probably just create a video using MidJourney and some more tools are there and circulate it and see if people are showing interest in those particular product. Of course, it depends on what category of product you are. If you are in, let's say, in some eatables, probably you will have to give to some of your neighbors to taste it and tell you back whether they like it or not. But for, let's say, clothes and jewelry and all those things, you can definitely create using some kind of image or some kind of videos, and you can kind of circulate it, get some feedback, and then actually go into the creation of those products and selling. And it's not going to be easy also, is what I understood, because there is a lot of logistical prices, there is a cost associated. So what I understand is for new players, it's not going to be very easy these days because competition is huge and logistics cost is already increasing. Even with all this petrol and diesel prices going up and up and up, all the transportation and everything is going to only increase. Probably you should be a bit cautious and creative at the same time. Then maybe some methods will open up. Okay, interesting. Not much of an advice for small e-commerce players, except that keep all your options open, and then something will work out probably. Okay, interesting. So, you mentioned about logistical issues, right? So, what are some of the major logistical challenges that are faced by e-commerce players? You mentioned that delivery is one, right? Where delivering the product itself can go up to 25% of the actual cost, right? What else are some of the major challenges that you see?
I think last mile delivery still is a challenge in India, especially in rural areas.
Okay.
If you see the demand for
Mm-hmm.
quick commerce or e-commerce, it's
Mm-hmm.
right now being led by tier one and tier two cities. That's where the explosive growth and demand is coming from.
Right.
Mainly because the products that are available to you in a metro are probably not available in tier two and rural areas,
Right.
right?
Right.
So there is a good demand coming from there. However, delivery
Mhm.
is still a challenge,
Right.
right? The way some of the rural areas are structured, there are
Mhm.
it's not just difficult to reach. There is a whole lot of cash based economy still,
Right.
right? So these are the things that kind of make that penetration very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I
Understood.
mean,
Okay.
there are some uh, very interesting case studies of how law and order has been so bad in rural areas that even if your delivery person goes there to collect cash, especially, I mean, I'll probably not name the states,
Mm-hmm.
the delivery folks, they themselves, get robbed because
Okay.
they are carrying so much cash. So
Mm-hmm.
there are
So,
logistics is a huge, huge challenge still in the country.
interesting. Okay. Last question, Nidhi, that I wanted to ask is like, with a lot of emerging technologies like AI, right? What role do you see technologies like AI playing in adding some of the viral services and let's say developing an edge in e-commerce applications? How do you think these applications and these services can assist e-commerce or quick commerce?
I think that's already happening as we speak. One of the most interesting thing is AI based cataloging. I think modeling as a profession is probably going to die out very soon. It's already happening. In fact, in my company, we create AI based catalogs for some of the brands. So whether it is spectacles or it's fashion or even chips and everything, we are creating image and AI based image and video content, which looks
Okay.
very real and showcases your product in a very desirable way.
Okay.
Then hyper personalization, for example, like stuff that is products that are visible to me will be
Mm.
based on what I have browsed before or what my interest would be, versus what you
Okay.
see would be completely different, right?
Mm.
Then there are, one big revolution I see is, in logistics itself, because
Mm.
the whole routing of logistics can be optimized using AI, right? Even at the warehouses, there is a lot of efficiency that is being
Okay.
brought in thanks to AI.
Okay.
Then coming to even offers and promos and everything, and buying behavior, predictive
Okay.
analytics around customer buying behavior. There
Okay.
is a lot of very precise insights that are being driven
Okay.
already
Okay.
basis, with the help of AI, for example. I mean, if you probably wouldn't have even thought of your next purchase, but Amazon will know what
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
going to buy.
All the time.
That's already happening,
Mm.
right?
Right.
So AI has completely already revolutionized. We've yet to see what are the other applications where this is going to happen.
Okay.
I was watching a video where the person's actually, like I said, launched an MVP of a product just with AI,
Mm.
and created ads also using AI. Has promoted it,
Mm.
um, asked people to join a wait list to
Mm-hmm.
purchase that product. So that way
Okay.
they're assessing the demand. And if the demand is good enough, then they will go ahead and develop the product. So
Wow.
your
Okay.
entire sequence of
Okay.
doing a product launch can be
Mm-hmm.
completely reversed.
Okay.
You
Okay.
don't need to actually have the finished product to
Okay.
be able to assess the demand, or to be able to
Basically, AI has
launch it.
completely revolutionized each and every step of the pipeline of selling. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And it is actually.
Even in specific to marketing, right? Performance
Mm.
marketing is very AI driven apps, as of now already, right?
Okay.
I do feel that possibly performance marketer as a job will also change
Be affected.
quite a lot
Okay.
in the future,
Okay.
because a
Okay.
lot of these, I mean, Google and Meta algorithms are already picking up what's the right customer for your product, and it doesn't have to be
Okay.
manually controlled anymore. So
Okay.
marketing is
Performance
also.
marketing, just for the sake of completion, it is about like which products are performing best. You market those products. Is that what performance marketing is, or something else?
No, so performance marketing is basically marketing, or rather selling your product. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So putting money behind ads to
Okay.
sell your products at an
Right.
efficient ROI.
Okay. Okay.
So
Your ad should
instead
perform
of,
good, basically.
sorry?
Okay. Yeah. To check how your ads are performing based on keywords and all those things, and that. Okay. Okay. Very interesting conversation, Nidhi. I mean, I must say, for people who are watching this, right, they must have learned something. For both brands who want to sell their products, there are a lot of insights for them, as well as for e-commerce players or marketplaces who would like to kind of understand the consumer behavior and who would like to save some cost. What can they do? Uh, on last note, Nidhi, like, since you've worked with many clients, right, anything that you have seen working every time, like any secrets which have worked with brands or e-commerce players every time that has helped them, and then we can wrap this discussion.
Um, I think the one thing that
Mm.
works for successful brands
Mm-hmm.
is that they are very strong in their unit economics.
Okay.
They
Okay.
are able to calculate exactly what is the cost, or rather, they are able to cut back on the COGS, which is the cost of
Okay.
developing the product, or manufacturing the product, and
Mm-hmm.
they're able to optimize every cost head
Okay.
in the value
Okay.
chain,
Okay. Okay.
no matter how good your product is. If
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be efficient to sell the product, if the marketing is going to make the
Mm-hmm.
is going to eat up your products,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, profits, or if the logistics cost is going to eat up your profits, any if your packaging cost is going to eat up your profits, then it is going to be unsustainable in the future. At the end of the day, any product you launch, A,
Mm-hmm.
it should have the demand. B, of course, it should be a good product. And three, it should you have to look at optimizing the cost route right from manufacturing it to marketing it to delivering it.
Understood. Basically, you have to be very good at your unit economics.
Yes.
And all the supply chain related things which we have been hearing, I know, reading from a long time in logistics world, right? It plays a very, very major role in making an e-commerce platform successful or making a brand successful. Thanks, Nidhi. Thanks for having this conversation. And to all the viewers who are watching this, do let us do share in the comments like what is your journey about your products that you have tried to sell, how successful have you been, what are some of the methods that have worked for you, and do connect with Nidhi if you are into e-commerce, if you want to sell or if you want to create a plan for yourself. Nidhi is a very good consultant. She's the founder of Bizwize Consulting, as we mentioned in the beginning. She will definitely support you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. And of course, last thing that I would like to say, a lot of you are watching these videos a lot, but you are not really subscribing. I do hope you all subscribe because we have very amazing conversations lined up